Hey, Brad and the Buff here. As you can see, I got my buff on my head and I'm ready to go. This is what I'm going to use for my camping stoves. I have a lot of different setups here that I can use to be flexible depending on the situation I am. So let me break them down for you real quick. First thing I'm going to do is show you my alcohol stove. This is a Toaks titanium alcohol stove, weighs less than an ounce, and you're going to use alcohol as a fuel for it. There are a lot of different fuel sources. That's one of the big pluses of this. There are a lot of different things you can use to fuel it with. You can find them anywhere, gas stations, any camping store is going to carry stuff for them. You can find it in pharmacies. So if you got to fly somewhere, you're not sure what kind of shops you're going to see out there, this is what you want to bring because the fuel sourcing is so flexible. Just about everything, every place carries something that's going to burn inside of this. You can use flint and steel to light it with, that'll still work. Or you can just work a traditional lighter. You can see I'm just going to light it here. It takes a minute to get it primed and it just pulls up heat through just an open flame. You just put your pot right on top like this. As you can see, it is a little bit more rickety, so you got to be careful. That's one of the downsides. It's very small and very lightweight, but one thing you're giving up is a little bit of base stability. It is always wise to bring a wind blind with you. This is a titanium wind blind. Weighs next to nothing, probably, I don't know, maybe a quarter of an ounce. You just put it on the outside like this, put your stove in. It's going to make the stove a little efficient because it keeps the heat around the side, protects it from wind. A weekend trip, you can get away with about 3 to 4 ounces. It takes about 1 ounce per meal to boil your water. So you can get away with about 4 ounces of alcohol for a weekend. So your total setup's only going to take about 5 ounces just for the fuel and the stove itself. The downside is it does take about 7 to 8 minutes to actually boil it, so it does take a little bit longer. Like I said, it's a little bit more rickety, but this is a great ultralight system because it's so flexible and it's so light. One thing I also like to bring with me is a wood burning stove. This is a Toaks titanium wood burning stove. It weighs about 8 ounces. It's about $50. This is also about $50. This is a really fun unit just because you can actually build a fire in it. It can kind of act as like a campfire for you as well, so it can be fun. You can still roast hot dogs on it. You never run out of fuel. You're just going to take some twigs, break them about the size of your thumb, put it in the bottom here. Some of the downsides are it can be smoky, a little bit harder to start, not great in wet weather. The water does take a little bit longer to boil, but it does have a bigger base than this. You just put your pot right on top, it'll boil it. A lot of fun, love this unit. These two are great to pair together for a trip because you never run out of fuel with this one. And if I bring, 5-6 ounces of fuel and pair with this, I've got in about a 16-ounce setup, I've got plenty to get me through a week of backpacking. I know I'm never going to run out of fuel because I have this with me. If it's raining or I don't feel like messing around, I can use this one for the night. And if I want to get a fire started a little bit quicker inside of this, I can use my alcohol to cheat a little bit, just a little squirt, get that fire going. So these are two setups that I like just because you can take them anywhere with you and fuel's not hard to find. This is the most popular of all the setups I have. This is just a flame sourced, goes with a propane, just a little isopropane tank. You just canister, you just screw it right on. This is the MSR pocket rocket. I've had this thing forever, pretty much indestructible. The actual stove aspect only weighs about 3 to 4 ounces. The canister is going to weigh about 13 to 14. So you got about 16 ounces in this setup. Very convenient, boils water very quick. Just get your flame going. You can kick it up. You can simmer a little bit with it. Put your pot right on top. Going to get the job done. Pretty good. Some downsides are you do have to have these canisters. These canisters, if you're going far away or if you're flying out of country, can be difficult to find. You can't take them with you on a plane. If you run out of fuel, the top is worthless. And they're not super efficient with their weight. You can use a wind blind with them to make them a little bit more efficient. But, this, as far as convenience and lightness, this is the best of all worlds. Very convenient. Like I said, the one downside is you do have to have this as a fuel source. If you run out, then you're just kind of out, and then they can be difficult to find sometimes. Another setup that I love is a self-contained unit, which means that the unit just goes right on top. This thing boils water, and it does it at a super efficient rate. It doesn't take a lot of fuel, so one thing you can get away with is these smaller canisters will last you a whole weekend at least. It uses radiant heat. This is the MSR reactor. It's very expensive. It's $200, so that is a downside. But it's got a strainer on top, a handle that collapses you can put down, and it boils water in about 2 minutes. I mean, it is like a miracle using this thing. So all you got to do, you just screw on your top, you get your flame going, gives you some radiant heat. So what I mean by that is it's not a big flame shooting out. It kind of heats a ceramic base in there and spreads that heat out evenly. You put your top on it and you are ready to rock with some boiled water in about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes top. Like I said, the big plus side is that it's very efficient with the fuel. You still have to use the canisters. It is an expensive unit, but it is amazing. So these are the typical things I'm going to bring with me on any backpacking weekend. I'll take a different one for different times just for fun to mess around with. They do different things, but I love having these different setups. You can find them in different types of, you can find different manufacturers for them, but this is what you're generally going to run into. I hope this video was helpful for trying to let you pick out what you want for a stove, showing you some quick pros and cons. I will do a separate video breaking down each of these units so you know the specifics on them, but just wanted to give you a quick out on all four. Thanks a lot and have a good one. Hit the trails. Hey guys, if you liked the video you just saw, please subscribe, click the bell so you can get alerted for any new videos that I may do, and check the links below for any information I described in the video. I'll try to put as much there as possible. Thanks for watching.